starts with breaking news.
That breaking news this morning, one person is in the hospital after a late night cutting. It happened about 11:30 last night near 45th and Lafayette. This is a look at the scene there. So far, there's no word on what led to the incident or to tell us about any suspects. Stay with First Alert 6 both on air and online as we work to find out more information. Well, good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us here on our First Alert 6 streaming this Monday morning. I'm Cerise Cole, joined by meteorologist Jared Lansford, who is once again tracking this bitter cold weather that we just can't seem to shake.
You know, we spent so much of the winter above average with the temps. It was a matter of time, but it still doesn't make it big.
It's a lot when it's this cold, though.
Yeah, it's super unpleasant. Let's take a look at our current conditions where we do have that clear sky. We had the snow over the weekend. It wasn't a lot of snow, but you get that fresh layer and you have a clear sky. It allows that temperature to really drop off. And that's where we're at right now, 4 below with our temperature. We've had the wind briefly come down, and that has made the wind chill show up at 4 below, but know that some of us are still seeing that wind, and as soon as that picks back up, that wind chill is going to drop right back off. So be ready for 10 to 20 below for what it feels like for much of the morning. Eventually, we're going to make it to the mid-20s for our highs. That sunshine is going to make it look really nice out there, and that is a big recovery from where we're at right now. Here's the problem. The wind's going to pick up. That will be the driving force to go from those below zero temps all the way into the 20s. And as that wind builds in, it gets pretty gusty, up to 30 miles per hour possible for the late morning into the afternoon. So that means it's never going to feel quite as warm as the actual temperature. Again, remember, about 25 is our high. Our peak wind chill is about 13 for today. So it's going to be still pretty chilly even into those PM hours. Plan accordingly. It's going to be one of the colder days of the week. We get into tomorrow, some slight improvement. We won't be quite as cold as we start off the day, right around 10 degrees. Wind chill will be closer to 0 with lighter winds. And those lighter winds are going to stick with us for much of the day. Now, by lighter, I mean 10 to 20. There's still a breeze. It's just not gusting as high. So high that ends up about 26 tomorrow. We'll have clouds late in the day. And a wind chill that peaks in the teens. Small step forward for what we end up with on our Tuesday. And as we get into our later part of the day, as I mentioned, we start with sunshine. Then we'll start to pull some cloud cover in as we get late in our Tuesday. Sunny all of today. Sunny for the first half of our Tuesday. Then the clouds start to come in as we get close to sunset, and we'll have that around into our Wednesday as well. And you can see that most of the day we're holding on to those clouds too. So it will be the warmest day of the week, but we'll lose the sunshine. So it's kind of give and take. Every one of these days has something that's good about it and something that's going to make it a little less pleasant than what it would otherwise be. Still, that 32-degree high on our Wednesday, that looks pretty good for us. That's a step in the right direction from what we've been seeing here this morning and the next couple days.
Yeah, I can't believe I'm looking forward to temperatures in the 30s. Like, yes, can we get to the 30s?
Yay, average.
Hey, that's all we want to be is average. All right, we have to talk snow chances as we actually do have some this week.
Yeah, we had that little bit over the weekend. That's kind of what we're talking about we get later this week. It's not a big snow system. Some people have been waiting for one of those.
Yeah.
You're going to still be waiting if you're looking for that. But as far as what we end up getting as we head into our Thursday, this is another one of these systems that briefly makes its way through the Midwest, brings a quick little shot of some light snow, and it looks a little more likely west of the metro that we have some of those snow showers, and you'll notice how quickly that goes away when I advance to later in the day Thursday. So not much with this, but could get some flakes out of it, certainly. That's something, I don't know what that is, but what we are looking at when that comes through, let me just back up and I could talk about it off of this. Maybe a coating if you're near the metro in west. So again, not a lot out of that. We do get another chance as we get into the weekend with a system that comes through. What these systems will also do, and probably end up being the bigger impact, knocks the temps back down. Unfortunately, that ground we gained through Wednesday, we'll lose it again as we get into our Thursday. Friday, highs in the teens. We'll come back up by the time we get to the weekend. Alongside that, there's the next chance for some snow. And we'll talk a little bit more about how that ends up unfolding. And some of those ups and downs in the temperatures kind of gets a little bit turbulent at times with some of those temps.
All right. Well, we did get some snow over the weekend. So how is that impacting traffic? Have you seen any problems at all?
Well, thankfully, so far, we're in pretty good shape. But something to keep in mind as you are heading out and about is that you're going to be looking at some of the streets that have some of that snow around. Let's take a look at some of the main roads. It's not necessarily those that are going to have the issue. You can see Dodge looks pretty good here. A lot of those have cleared out over the last couple of days, so you don't really have much in the way of issues there. It's more so those first couple of minutes of your drive on the neighborhood streets where you can still have some patchy coverage in place there. So something to keep in mind, a little extra caution is not going to hurt you as you're going about your drive. And you can see that most roads are moving along pretty well. We've got just a couple of minor exceptions showing up. Benson on Maple as you make your way through that stretch and then get close to that closure that's in place still between 67th and 70th. You've got some slowdowns there. As you get around 90th on Maple, you've also got some minor delays there. Notice Bennington Road around Blair High, some delays that are in place there, but most of our roads are doing pretty well. JFK, which typically slows down around this point, still holding up good right now. We'll see if Dodge starts to check up in a little bit. But again, a lot of it's going to be what you end up encountering in the neighborhood streets that could be the issue. Hopefully we can avoid any bigger issues as we bring more and more people onto the roads. Of course, Friday didn't have much in the way of school traffic or anything. We will have that this morning, so we'll see how things go.
Yeah, hope they go well. All right, Jared, thank you. To your news now, happening today, the blast of winter we experienced over the last few days carrying over into school delays this morning. A handful of local school districts are starting 2 hours late. That includes Ashland, Greenwood, Auburn, Falls City, Louisville, and Plattsmouth. For a full list of closings, you can always go to our website, firstalert6.com. There are also a handful of flights out of Epley that have been canceled. Affected destinations include Dallas, Denver, Detroit, Minneapolis, and New York. Well, hundreds of people made their voices heard in Omaha after an ICE agent shot and killed a man in Minneapolis. Protesters gathered near 72nd and Dodge yesterday afternoon. They called for reform and accountability to immigration and customs enforcement. We noticed one police car monitoring the protests. However, there was zero interaction with law enforcement and no violence. Meantime, reaction coming in from lawmakers in the Midwest following the shooting. Nebraska Congressman Mike Flood says, in part, quote, "No matter your political persuasion, we should all want peace to win over chaos. In moments like this, all parties need to pause, wait for all the facts to become clear, and allow a full investigation to be completed." Omaha Mayor John Ewing asked protesters to do so peacefully, adding this quote, "I would ask us to deepen our commitments to one another as human beings, regardless of circumstances, so that all here feel welcome and safe." Nebraska Senator Pete Ricketts expresses a quote, "prioritize transparent investigation," adding, quote, "My support for funding ICE remains the same. Enforcing our immigration laws make our streets safer. It also protects our national security, but we must all maintain our core values as a nation, including the right to protest and assemble." Here at the Safety Desk with our Maria Cade. And Maria, there may be some good news finally on the flu front.
I know, it seems like those numbers have just been trending up and up and up, but there's some new data out that shows that the season might have actually peaked because the metrics that the CDC uses to measure the flu activity all trended down last week, and that includes hospitalizations and trips to the doctor. But of course, as we know, we have been following, a good chunk of the country is still reporting those moderate to very high flu activity levels, so it's still not done. The numbers are just a little bit lower than they were before. So the CDC estimates there have been 19 million cases of flu this year. Roughly 250,000 people have gone to the hospital. Unfortunately, there have been approximately 10,000 deaths. 44 of those were kids. And they say most of these were from a new strain called subclade K for most of those cases this season. But of course, as we said time and time again, if you want to protect yourself, get that flu shot, you can still get it.
Yeah, you still have time for sure. All right. Good news, though. Maria Cade reporting. Thank you, and we'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. Sure hope your Monday is getting off to a good start. Well, look at this. This is a positive to start the day on. Beautiful sunrise this Monday morning. However, we have to talk about our reality. And that big chill is still chilling. It is still freezing out there this morning, and we're still talking actual temperature below zero.
Yeah, it's going to be quite cold as you're stepping out the door. That sunshine's going to stay in place all day long, and it's going to be kind of deceitful by the afternoon because it will be looking really nice. I'll explain why it's deceitful here in just a little bit. 4 below is our temperature. Showing up as a 4 below wind chill right now in the metro, but know that a lot of us are experiencing more of a 10 to 20 below. We just happen to get the reading right when the wind calmed down, and that's the reason why it looks lower. But be prepared for it to feel pretty unpleasant out the door. As we make our way through the next several hours, sunshine still in place. Look at that recovery, up to 25 by the afternoon. You may say, well, that's a great warm-up that we're looking at. Yes, but as we get into the afternoon, look at that, chilly breeze. That's 2 key words for today because that's the driving force for that warm-up. And that's good, but we get gusts up around 30 miles per hour late in the morning into the afternoon. And that will cut into how warm it feels. So there's the wind chill. You can see that we struggle to get to the double digits for how it feels. So take the air temperature, subtract about 10 to 15 degrees, and that will be how it feels all day long. Not the warmest of days. The good news is this is the coldest morning that we have overall. By the time we get to tomorrow, we start off closer to 10 degrees. We'll have sunshine still at that point. We get late in the day on Thursday, we'll start to bring some of those clouds in. And then as we get into Wednesday, those are likely sticking around most of the day. May get some occasional peaks of sunshine, but it's going to be a more clouds than sun type of day. That does come along with warmer temps, up to 32, so a step in the right direction there. Our average high is 34, so that's even still a touch below average. And you notice how we lose a lot of that warmth for Thursday and Friday. Let me show you what that's about. As we get into those days, we get a chance for snow to return to the area. And it doesn't look like a lot, but that's a system that comes through, brings a chance for some flakes. Let me show you the accumulation map that kind of malfunctioned earlier. There we go. And you can see it's not much. It's a coating maybe in the metro and off to the west. This is another one of these systems that just briefly passes through the area and doesn't leave us with all that much. And we get another one of those for Sunday. That also bringing a chance that we bring some snow showers through the area, and that will affect our temperatures there as well. Neither of these should leave a lot of snow, but it is going to be a kind of situation where we are watching to just make sure that it doesn't end up being more than what it looks like right now. More so, it's the temperature change that is going to be what you notice. 23 for a high on Thursday. Notice that cold start for Friday morning and not a ton of recovery with some clouds in place on Friday. So all that warmth that we gain on Wednesday, unfortunately, we're likely going to lose that by the end of the week.
Okay, so I don't expect to see any 60s, but will we get any warmer than those 30s that we see there?
Well, you know, Cerise, a lot of our last few weekends, we've really struggled with our weather. This one looks a little bit better anyway. We're talking 20s, have some sunshine on Saturday. Sunday, we get up into the 30s. That does come with more of a breeze, and again, that chance that we maybe get some flakes. But the long-term trends are pointing warmer. We're talking about some 40s that get into the picture, and by the time we get to the first week of February, pointing more toward warmer than average. So that's good. We'll have to watch. Notice that we're kind of on the edge of that, though.
I do.
And you've probably heard Rusty talk about how February is probably the month where we end up with our snow.
He did say that.
That's the kind of setup as you're right on the edge. That means systems could be coming their way through here. So nothing imminent, but something to keep in mind as we head into February.
I hope Rusty's wrong. Don't tell him I said that. Don't tell him I said
He's not here. He won't find out.
All right, Jared, thank you. More news now. We do have an update to a story we have been following. Omaha police now say alcohol is considered a factor in a crash that put 4 people in the hospital. Police responded to I-480 between Martha and Vinton Friday night. OPD says an SUV left the road and hit a light pole and tree near 29th and Bancroft. 2 women and 2 children suffered serious injuries. Well, Super Bowl 60 is just under 2 weeks away. All the details on the championship game coming up. we're back with some fun news. The trailer for the new Muppet Show is out.
I know, I'm excited for this. And for other fans, the new show is going to be a trip down memory lane. So the opening number is going to feature music and lights. Stalter and Waldorf are heckling from the balcony, as always. Some of the guest stars include singer Sabrina Carpenter, actor Seth Rogen, and comedian Maya Rudolph. And the special is streaming on Disney Plus, and that starts on February 4th. Who loves the Muppets?
I love them. My favorite is Kermit the Frog. Do you have a favorite?
Miss Piggy.
Miss Piggy?
Yes.
No, that's a good guest list, too. They'll have some fun with that.
Oh, it's going to be so good.
I mean, when it was at the height of the show, the original show, people were clamoring to get on the show. It's kind of like SNL, you know, to be a guest star on the Muppet Show. That was a really big deal.
It should be fun. Speaking of.
Yes, another show, exciting. Super Bowl 60 is now set.
Yes, so it'll be the New England Patriots facing off against the Seattle Seahawks. The Seahawks knocked off the Los Angeles Rams yesterday, 31-27. Good games.
Yeah.
This will be the Seahawks' 4th Super Bowl appearance. The Patriots beat the Denver Broncos 10-7 yesterday. This will be their 12th Super Bowl. Did you see all that snow, by the way?
Crazy.
Super Bowl 60 will take place on February 8th at Levi Stadium in Santa Clara, California. It'll be warm there. They won't have this problem. Of course, that's home of the San Francisco 49ers. But I think people are happy about this. Are you guys happy with the matchup?
I think it'll be an interesting one because there's kind of like the Patriots had that long stretch and then
the dynasty.
Just a little break and they're back already. So I've already seen some kind of discontent about that. I think there's going to be a lot of Seattle
I don't want them to win.
fans. So
I'll say it.
We're rooting for Seattle in our house.
Yeah. If they win, that's gonna, right now Steelers and Patriots 6-6. So if Patriots win, that'll put them on top.
That's why.
Seahawks
all makes
all the way,
sense
all the
now.
way.
All right, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us. We're going to get ready for our update in today's show. You can watch it here on streaming or over the air. Have a great day.
Live from WOWT, First Alert 6 starts now.
Good Monday morning, everybody. It is 7:26. I'm Cerise Cole. Let's get right to First Alert 6 traffic with meteorologist Jared Lansford.
And as we get things up and running, one of the things to keep in mind is some of those neighborhood streets could still have some patchy coverage of snow after what we had over the weekend. So first alert to maybe a few slick spots in the neighborhoods. A lot of the main streets are in pretty good shape as we're starting off the day, and you can see that things are moving along pretty well on those. One of our exceptions is as you're heading northbound on the JFK. Things are slowing down. You're getting from about L Street back down toward around Childs. Watch for some delays that are in place there. But when we zoom out the map, things mostly doing well. A few delays now starting to show up on Dodge eastbound as well. Most spots doing well. We'll keep you first alerted if we do start have bigger problems. Probably the biggest problem out the door is the cold, as we are looking at temperatures that have dropped below zero, 4 below where we're at. Happened to get the reading as the wind briefly calmed down. Wind chills are closer to 10 to 20 below for most of the area, so be ready for brutal cold in the early going, and really all day long you're still going to feel that as we pick up the southwest winds. Gusts up to 30 miles per hour late this morning and into the afternoon will kind of undercut the warming that we do get because our air temperature gets to 25, But the best that we do on our wind chills is barely into the double digits, with that wind really supplying a chill to the air even in the afternoon. A lot of sunshine on the way though. As we go through the next couple of days, we will get a little bit warmer each day, finally making it back to the 30s by the time we get to Wednesday. Cerise.
All right, Jared, thank you. To breaking news now. One person is in the hospital after a late night cutting. It happened around 11:30 near 45th and Lafayette. This is a look at the scene there. So far, no word on what led up to the incident or details on any suspects. Stay with First Alert 6 on air and online as we work to find out more information. It is now 7:28. We're back with another update for you in about 25 minutes. We'll see you then.